All matter, including living things, is made of elements. While there are 25 elements essential for life, there are 4 elements that make up around 96% of all living matter. These elements are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. And of the 4, hydrogen and oxygen, we discussed last video, making up water. So without further ado, let's dive into the 4 most important elements in biology. Let's start off with carbon. Carbon has 4 valence electrons, meaning that 4 electrons orbit its outer shell. And with these electrons, carbon can form 4 covalent bonds with other atoms. And here's the magic. Carbon loves to form bonds with other carbon atoms. This property of carbon creates 3 different structures that you are definitely going to need to know, so pay attention. First off, we have carbon chains, which serve as the backbone of many molecules. And then we have branch chains. These add a little bit more complexity by branching off of those initial long chains. And then we also have carbon rings. Now, there are also specific groups of atoms that attach to these carbon structures that create distinct chemical properties. Among these are the other 5 elements, and we are going to start with nitrogen. Nitrogen is an essential part of amino acids, the building block of protein, and they can also be found in the nitrogenous bases of nucleic acids, which we'll go over in another video. Now we go on to phosphorus. Phosphorus is an essential part of energy production as it is a main component of ATP. And in case you've been living under a rock, ATP is basically the energy currency of a cell. Furthermore, we can't forget sulfur. It's just like nitrogen as it is an essential part of amino acids. This is the part of Unit 1 that I really didn't like. It involves just a whole bunch of memorization of these different groups, but hold on, hang in with me. You gotta memorize these. Firstly, we got hydroxyl groups. These groups are found in sugars, which makes molecules polar and hydrophilic. Now, hold on, you heard what I said, right? Polar? Oxygen? Now remember in my last video, oxygen has a lot of electrons. This means that in covalent bonding, it likes to take more electrons than it should, creating a charge imbalance, which is exactly why it creates polarity. And being hydrophilic just means you love water. Next we have carbonyl groups, which are similar to hydroxyl groups because they also make molecules polar. And then we also have carboxyl groups, amino groups, sulfhydryl groups, phosphate groups, and methyl groups. And I know it's asking too much to fully understand all of these groups, but just take a close look at each group. Notice anything similar? They each have one main element. For example, isn't it a little convenient that carboxyl has a carbon in the middle of its structure? And if you get what I'm saying, then you can notice that every single group has this going for them. In these groups, we can see elements that we've already been talking about, like nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, carbon, and even hydrogen. And being able to identify the elements within the groups can give you large insight about the chemical properties. And that's it for today, scientists. I thank each and every one of you for watching this video. And if this helped you with your biology, please subscribe because it tells me you want more of these videos. Anyways, with that, I'm out.